Well, Linda, I'm going to have to get you to blabber for the next few minutes because my computer is going, and
That's
I
okay.
can't get this
You know,
onto your page at the moment.
okay. So, you all know by now, guys, I can talk under wet cement. So if someone told me to blubber, I can just start blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I'll tell you my news while Mike is busy, okay? I've just spent the last 2 days on my computer and I'm nearly got my book ready. Well, it's about to be published. Through Lulu, just in case you've never heard of Lulu, you've got to actually buy a proof copy, and they said it will take about 2 to 3 weeks for me to receive it. So once I receive that and I actually go in and say, yes, I like it, my book will be live. Yay! So it's called 5 Years in Heaven. It's also got the teachings of heaven in there as well. It is available at my website, www.lindaree.info. It's on there as a PDF version. I'm so excited, Mike. Well, it only took me 20 years to write it, but I am so impressed that, I think now is the time that everybody on the planet does need this hope or trust or belief, whatever you want to call it, because, everybody is, they're looking at the people around them and they're judging the importance of these people in their lives. There's a lot of people who, because in 3 days, I had 17 phone calls in
Wow.
3 days from people who are just lost. They're confused. They're getting attacked. They're getting abuse from family, friends, neighbors, even people driving past them on the street because, everybody is not 100% on board with what is going on at the moment. Everybody has a thought about what's going on,
Right.
and this is all over the world. My phone calls aren't just here in Australia. I'm getting a lot of people on Skype and on Facebook Messenger contacting me saying, my God, the world's going crazy. And I've said, well, what do you mean it's going crazy? Because it already has,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I was saying this last March, but hopefully in a few weeks it is going to start dying down because this time next year we may not be even talking about COVID because other things will be coming out, guys.
It will be a distant
You
memory.
know,
Ooh.
there's some certain countries who I can't disclose, but we must watch these countries because if what Karina told me in 2001 when I died, if the prophecies that she told me, things are coming at the end of 2022 into 23.
Yeah.
And it's not nice, guys, So we've got to keep focused on who we are, what we love, and most importantly, how much we want to be a better person in ourselves.
Yeah.
Do we want to be someone who attacks? Do we want to be someone who judges and accuses? Or do we want to be somebody who's compassionate, understanding, kind, and loving? At the end of the day, this is a big wake-up call for 8 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mike and I can agree for you, Mike, both of us, we know what side of the fence we're on.
Yeah.
But, people, and that's the advantage that you and I have, Mike. We don't work for an employer. We are doing what we're passionate about. We're doing what we love. And that's what a lot of people now are discovering. They're saying, well, I've worked for this company for 32 years or whatever, and I'm now not liking what they're saying.
Yeah.
The policies, procedures, the legislations, etc., that are coming out now.
Yeah.
They're realizing that there's something within them that doesn't agree with it. So everybody's now working it. Well, I won't say everybody, but a lot of people now are working out who they truly are and what it is that they want in life and what's most important.
Yeah.
You know, the video that I wanted to do yesterday was actually describing about what work is.
Right.
You know, so many people put an onus on work as being a job that you go to get paid for. But how much work do we do on our relationships?
Yeah.
How much work do we do in our own homes where we live? And how much work do we do on ourselves to work out who we are?
Yeah.
So, you know, I always say there's never a bad situation. It is always an opportunity. We are given opportunities to grow or to keep going on the same negative paths.
Yeah.
You know, because we're always growing. We're always growing. And so, you know, 8 billion people right now are all having that opportunity to work out who they are and what they really, truly are.
Yeah.
You know, so I've always, you know, when COVID came out last March, you know, a year and a half ago, I actually thought to myself, wow, this is great, because I know exactly what I'm going to be doing while I'm in isolation, lockdowns, and can't go anywhere. You know, a friend said to me the other day, she said, oh my God, you know, we can't go out to bars, pubs, restaurants, cinemas, etc. anymore, because hello, I openly admit I'm unjabbed. But I said to her, but think about it this way. When we're staying at home, we're working on us.
Yeah.
We're doing what we are passionate about. If you love gardening, you'll go and tend to your roses. If you love cars, you'll go and tinker on your car. If you love doing computer work, you'll start writing a book or poetry. You know, if you're into arty type stuff, you'll start drawing pictures and stuff. So, you know, we got to look at all this as opportunities, guys, for who we truly are. Now, do you want me to keep going?
No, I just want to add something there before we go over and listen to Katerina do the news, and that is we get told time and time again, and through the table, which as promised, I've got a little bit of me doing some table tipping. It's that you know, when this is finished, we were discussing with the table, and the advice was that not to go back to that way of going to restaurants, going to cinemas, doing this.
Yes.
And not through a vengeful attitude, but we will get pulled right back into where we have just left. So it's not to say don't go to restaurants, but yes, go to a cinema, but it's not to make this your whole life anymore. It should be something that's, let's make a nice change. So, but
it's complementary.
Yeah,
that's a nice. You know, it's complementary. So it's an extra bonus if you do go to these places.
Exactly.
You know, like a complimentary biscuit when you buy a meal.
Far better to go to the beach, to the forest, have a picnic, be amongst your people, be amongst your tribe. And this is coming more and more prominent, that sadly your blood family, now in this new frequency that we're experiencing, we are learning that we're not resonating with our blood family anymore, and that's okay. That really is okay. But you've got to find your tribe that resonates with you and keeps your frequency high.
Yes. Yes. You know, I always say, you know, our friends and family reflect who we are. So if we're a negative person, you know, and I'll say some negative traits, right? We accuse people, we judge people, we're hanging on to grudges and regrets, or we're sarcastic and we gossip about others. We will attract in people who do those same energies.
Yeah.
So
simple.
When you start being more kind, more generous, more loving, where you don't talk about people behind the back, you don't do this, you don't do that, you'll start finding people who are on that same energy frequency.
Yeah.
And, you know, then you see that value.
Right.
You know, it's because it goes back to work, right? What I said before about work. So then you see that value for the work that you're putting into those new relationships. And, you know, I openly talk about when I had 8 friends, about 4 years ago, They all left within 2 weeks. Boom, 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 gone. And it was like the universe took the trash out, because they were bickerers. They were behind your backers, stabbing you in the back, talking behind your back, gossiping, sarcastic. And within about 2 months, I actually met another 6 people who are now so much higher frequency people. They would drop their whatever they're doing and run to your side because they don't accuse or judge, and they're unconditional. They've got your back type friends. Those I've got your back, mate. What is it? I've got your back, Jack. So you look for those people who are on your frequency, if you want to raise up your frequency, because some people just don't want to, they like being in that frequency of gossiping. They feel like they want to be that drama. They want to bring everybody else into what's going on in their lives. So they advertise it all over Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, look at TikTok. How many people are on TikTok now doing all their personal stuff and bringing everybody else in on the planet to their dramas? I don't create drama, so I don't go to TikTok, seriously. That's one
we've
reason
removed some people from our group, our live group, because of them just bitching at everyone, being aggressive, being rude. And I know they're hurting and I know they're suffering, but we have to make a decision and remove them, because that frequency will start everyone else getting into that
absolutely depression. It attaches to everybody else and brings them down too. So that's right, Mike. It's not fair to live your life like that,
No.
So
we have someone there who said, oh my God, they're going to start food rationing, and they're going to look at what towns have got the most unjabbed people, and they're going to have the least food, and they're going to blame the unjabbed. Stop. This is going too far.
You're creating all that.
And I'm glad you said that, because I know with my talks on the power of words transform into energy. Energy can be used to manipulate and control. And you only have to put a fearful thought out, and then the people do the black magic themselves. Oh my God. And then you are manifesting exactly what they want through your low vibrational stuff. The same way, if somebody says, please pray for the healing for my friend, and everyone goes, heal, be healed, blah, blah, same thing. Prayer, magic, whatever you choose. But the moment you start getting into that fear energy, when someone makes a comment, you are manifesting, doing their work for them.
That's right. So, and that's why I don't watch the news.
No.
I watch Friends, I watch The Big Bang Theory, but, even some of the episodes of Big Bang, it can get quite sarcastic, but I pull it up and say, right, that's not me. I just like the way that some of them talk on that show, some of the jokes, etc. So I just say, right, that's on the TV. And it's broadcast into your homes. How many times have they promoted that?
On the
news is coming right into your home tonight, because it's emitting out of your TV, and it's a frequency that attaches to even your animals and even everything, all your objects in your house. That energy attaches to everything. And then the next day your mouse doesn't work or your pen runs out of ink, and you think, oh, what the hell? Because it's picking up on all this bad energy. Like Emoto Masuro, he was the one who did all that water. We can stick our frequencies into water just by saying, I love you to a glass of water. So imagine what it's doing to your plants. Imagine what it's doing to anything in your house, your sheets that you sleep in, your car that you drive in. So the more that, I get into my car, and I'm serious, Mike, every time I get into my car, I pat the dashboard and I say, oh, I love you. What a great car you are for me. And, I've owned that car now for 10 years. I bought it new, and it has not given me any trouble.
No.
The only reason why I knew the brakes were going is because I just put it in for a service. So the brakes didn't fail. It was only because I put it in for the service. And then he said, oh, well, you've got to replace this and replace that because it's a 10-year-old car now.
But that happens,
of course. but she runs great. See how I just called her she?
Yeah.
Because I identify my car as a living consciousness of having a gender,
Well, it kind of does have a consciousness because it derives from natural material, and all natural
Of
goods have
course.
consciousness.
What do you think? Oil, water, fuel, even the leather upholstery. It's all natural fibers in your cars. Even the plastics are made of something, so,
Well,
oh my God, someone is sending us so much love and kisses. I love it, whoever that was. Thank you so much.
Should we
I think that's
hear what Katerina has to
where
say?
are we going first, darling? Because we've got a great show coming up tonight.
Let's see what Katerina has to say.
Love her. Bring her on.
Here we go.
My name is Caterina Campagna, and I'm here today with the Open Door News segment. The news that makes you go, what? I can't, or just simply, they have to be making this up. It's your call. Anyway, on to our first story of the day. It comes to us from Scotland, where a married couple, Alex and Yvonne Hades, run a ghost hunting company professionally. And one day in their home, suddenly a book appeared. This is called aborting. Now, this aborting happened, it seems, because they visited an abandoned building that was used as a prisoner camp in World War II. And this book that appeared was no ordinary book. It is a Bible that a soldier used as a diary. A Mr. Robert Letterink used this Bible to keep track of his time there at the prison. Now, the couple is currently working to align this Bible back to the ancestors of the fallen soldier. And there you have it. Spirits can make one object appear from one location straight into another. Now on to a place that people have referred to as hell on earth. In 635, a saint came and took this land called Spike Island and left it as a monastery to his disciples. After being a monastery, it was turned into a fortress and finally a prison throughout hundreds of years. And it was referred to as hell on earth due to its overcrowded and inhumane conditions. It kept murderous people, but also people who were charged with petty crimes at the time of a great famine. There was even reports of a man there named John Mitchell who appears as a white mist to this day, and also a child, Eileen, who had seen human figures with their eyes cut out walking towards her. Now, it wasn't only her that saw them, but also the jailers there, and they would take aim at these figures, and of course, to no avail. They would just evaporate back into thin air. So there you have it, Spike Island, a great tourist attraction if you're into ghost hunting and happen to find yourself in Ireland. Ready for a cemetery run? Why not try Reading, Illinois? There you'll find Moon Point, a resting place initially made for Jacob Moon and his family. Later on, took on more visitors, and one such visitor is the Hatchet Lady, a woman known to be seen appearing mysteriously, weaving an axe, sometimes even throwing it. Visitors, live visitors that is, have reported that sometimes she gets so close to them that they even feel her breath on the back of their neck. Now, why she's there is debated. Some say it's because she lost her son when he was a boy and she went insane and picked up her first axe and started throwing it at people. And others say that her son was a fallen soldier of the Civil War and she's there protecting his grave with her axe. Sometimes she's even been known to throw it. Now for the special story that'll make you go, ha, and what the, all in once. And this scary tale happens in plain sight, which makes it all the more sinister. It is actually said to be cursed. I'm talking about the Poltergeist movie. Now, the initial movie of the trilogy came out in 1982, and it was written and co-directed by Steven Spielberg. Many children and parents were tricked into believing that it was a PG movie, just like E.T. But a lot of strange occurrences said to be happening on set and off. For instance, the child who plays Robbie Fielding, the child actor is Oliver Robbins, and in one scene where a tree branch is choking him, it was thought that he was ad-libbing, he couldn't breathe, when it really turns out that he couldn't breathe and his face turned blue, which is when they stopped rolling the cameras. More frightening is what happened to Dominique Dunne, the actor who played his older sister. Not only was she a teenager who was subjected to catcalling on the actual film, but in real life, her boyfriend killed her and got away with it. He only spent 3 years in prison despite choking the young actress Dominique Dunne to death. Most famously and most tragically is the film's main star, Heather O'Rourke, who died at the age of 12. Now, she was in the movie sucked in to the television where she was held captive by the TV people. A podcast and website put out by a lawyer who disguises his identity by calling him or herself Enty, and the podcast and website is called Crazy Nights, Days and Nights, and it reportedly has shown that Miss O'Rourke's death could have been caused to the show Rocky Road, because in the 80s it was high tide for the pedophilia ring that happens in Hollywood. And on her grave, it was spray painted B.K., Bruce Kane, who was the producer of Rocky Road, and also R.R. killed Heather O'Rourke. Her grave has been desecrated several times. Her body had to be moved because people would come and do mysterious things, like take her body from her crypt and cut her hair and take her flowers and take the stuffed animal that her stepsister left for her. She is now moved to an unmarked grave. That's it for now. Until next time, stay curious, my friends.
Didn't even know Heather O'Rourke had died, to be honest.
Yeah, she actually died during the making of the third one, darling. She had some intestinal or kidney, like lower torso problems.
Right.
Yeah, so in the third one, they actually had to use like offcuts and edited bits to put into the scenes. Yeah. So there's a lot of scenes there, especially when she's with that tall guy with the hat on, where she's not looking at the camera because that was actually a stand-in.
Don't you love Hollywood, eh? Even someone's death doesn't stop them from making the film.
Yeah, well, look at the movie The Crow, you know, and all those other movies where the actors died halfway through.
What's the one with the Australian fella? It's set in the Roman times where he was...
Gladiator.
Yeah, with
yeah, that was I can see his face. Oh my gosh, what is his name?
Russell Crowe.
Not Kurt Russell, because I love Kurt Russell. Russell Crowe, that's him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because the English guy who was in it, he died, and they had to CGI the rest of his face. There you go.
Yeah,
Nikki
there you go.
says,
Russell Crowe. Thank you, Nikki,
super,
for letting us know that one too. Yeah,
well,
she just commented.
I'll
Thanks,
tell
Nikki.
you what, we better crack on here.
We do.
Oh yeah, and
yes.
don't forget,
well, there was nothing really in there that I wanted to talk about because Katrina's doing a great job doing those.
Yeah.
All right. So where are we going to next, Mike?
I think just Ian. By the way, I think Heath Ledger is part of the 27 Club, which is something we should get into at another point. Let's go straight to the mirror. Let's have a look what's going on here. After thinking about this for a bit of a while, I'll give you my thoughts. But here's the mirror. Let's have a look.
Sure.
What do you think? I know what I think now. I think you're going to disagree with me, but I think this is fake, and I'll tell you why. The one thing that does it for me is a mother would be screaming her heart out if she saw that, is what I feel. I'm not an expert in this matter. I know the black eyes was great. The black-eyed kid, good, nice effect. I don't know. So, you know.
Well, okay. So you've got to look at the kid, Mike. He's looking into the reflection because he's facing away from the camera, and he's making eye contact in the mirror with the mother.
Right.
So she's actually not looking at the kid. She's looking at that reflection.
Right.
So she would have seen the difference in those two.
Yeah.
So, yes, she would have gone nuts if that was real.
Yeah.
Yes.
But a brilliant effect. Let's just look at it.
Of course it is.
Let's look at it again. Here we go. Wrong button. Fake.
Yeah, because you can see that the kid's making eye contact in the mirror with his mum.
Yeah.
So she's looking at that. So you'd see the other kid move away. Yeah. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Brilliant.
But still,
effect.
it's a good effect.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. But still good to put it on the show, Mike, because, there are some very good like programs, etc. out there now where you can, it's not just photoshopping anymore.
No.
It's more CGI, more green. A lot of people now are using green screen type effects because it's all becoming so cheap.
Yeah.
CGI when it first came out, look at Star Wars back in the 70s with the effects and the green screens. It cost millions and millions of dollars. So no one could do that sort of effect. But now, programs are getting really cheap.
I think we should recall it. Back in the day in the 60s when they done a movie, it was special effects. Now they're just effects.
That's right.
They're so integrated in something, it's just so real. So, I mean, Katerina will tell you, you can buy a bundle of green screens that move, of explosions going off and cars going over mountains, and, you put yourself in front, and, like thousands of scenes for like $90.
That's right. And, that's not that expensive.
No.
Look at when DVDs first came out. They were like, $1,200 to buy a DVD player.
Yeah.
And now, I picked one up for my daughter the other day, $39. Because she's got a DVD in her room as well.
Yeah.
So, technology is coming cheaper. Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy. But it is a good one. Yeah, so where are we going now?
We're going to show you my table tipping. Last week, someone asked about table tipping. They didn't know what it was, and I said I would put a little demonstration on what table tipping is this week. So, I'll show you it. Tell me your thoughts.
Let's go and have a look.
So welcome everyone, and as promised from last week, I'm going to show you how the table is used. Fortunately, Denise is coming. She'll be here shortly, and she's going to put her hands on the table with me. This is the table here, as you can see, and I'll just drag it over here a little bit because I want to show you. It's quite a heavy table. Fortunately, it's a little bit wobbly, and what that means is that wobble does allow for the table, when it's starting, to move a little bit better and a little bit quicker when we're just getting started. So we're just going to put our hands on it like this, and you'll see the table move, and I'll ask the table if it can do a few manoeuvres for us just to show you. And we'll also put our hands not only like this, but we'll put them like this and sometimes like this, so that you can see how the table moves, whether you've got your hand or your finger on it. It makes no difference. So again, fortunately, many people can put their hands on this table and sit here forever and a day and nothing will happen, and that's for your own safety. You really have to know what you're doing with this. This room that I'm doing it in here is constantly energetically cleansed. The table is smudged and energetically cleansed. And so everything is safe and good to go. Plus the fact I know who my gatekeeper is and who my guides are, which makes this very safe. So I'm going to put the table back. Denise will be here, and then we'll just give you a quick demonstration on how this all works. So here we are again. Here's Denise, our cosmic owl. And now we're just going to show you how much easier it is when two people put their hands on the table. And you will see a much bigger difference. It's much easier. The table can move around a lot better when there's two hands on the table. So we won't stop the tape. We'll just keep this rolling. Oops. There we go. Okay. So hands ready.
You're not visible, Mike.
No, that's okay. We just get the tape. So this should start moving straight away. As you can see, it clearly does. And we just asked the table if it would spin around a little bit again. Very lightly on the table. So now we have spin. Okay.
You should be seen.
There we are.
Yes.
Okay. So Denise, back on board. And so we asked a question, and we asked the table, when you're ready to answer a question, if you could stop tapping, which it does. And so we asked the control question, and it's once for yes, two for no. So, am I a boy? Once for yes, two for no. Is Denise a boy? Once for yes, two for no. And this is a control question so that we know exactly what's going on. And that's it really. So, I want to say, please, 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 please do not even get the idea of trying to do this. It needs a lot of experience, and I don't mind in this case saying I do have a lot of experience with this. I mentioned that I know who my guides are. I want to verify that I only know the feeling of my guides, and I know their presence. I don't know their names, and I don't know what they look like, but they've been with me a while, and I know them. And Joan is my gatekeeper. Nothing comes through that table without her permission. So everything is really, really quite safe. And when I do this with Denise on a Tuesday, every Tuesday, the table gets to answer more than yes, no questions, because it knows our energy. It's really, we're really synchronized with it.
Yeah.
So that's it. And we do table tipping, and loved ones come through. We've actually done online table tipping, which I'm going to be doing soon, actually, with somebody who lives in Serbia, and we put the camera up, and they can feel the love of spirit through the table, even though they're in Serbia.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right, Mike. You know, so guys, just to reiterate what Mike just said, you know, just because we think we know what we're doing, believe me, there are entities that exist who are far stronger, far more powerful, and far more evolved than what we are as humans. And if we start messing with the wrong ones, they sometimes pretend to be your friend. And then all heck breaks loose. Because, you know, possessions, other words, I can't think of them now, but, you know, there's other things that these, I just say the D word, you know, like Matt Damon. I don't even say their name in my house because I just don't entertain anything. I operate from white light and love. I think that's why I've got this girl with me constantly. You know, I could start doing or trying to do table tipping with her permission, but every time that, you know, you've mentioned it to me, she says, Linda, don't. I trust them rather than me. You know, that's why I never go near Ouija boards or anything.
Absolutely.
Because
keep away from that damn thing.
Absolutely. Because you don't know what's coming through.
Well, only once.
And you've got to be very careful.
Only once when we've done table tipping, and it wasn't in Austria, where I am now. This was years ago in the UK. Only once when we started, we got that stop now. And we did. And everything was fine.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
So, you know, sometimes you get a little one that slips through. We always finish the table tipping session with rescue work, and Joan brings someone through who wants to step into the light. Actually, yesterday, she kicked someone through into the light, whether they wanted to go or not. But that wasn't my doing. You can get some really good answers, and the table really works best when you ask spiritual questions or questions about, you know, this global situation. I have found, and I avoid this with people, not this is my boyfriend coming back, is my girlfriend coming back.
Oh, gosh.
That is not proper use of the table. It's really to do with more spiritual questions, to connect with a loved one in spirit. And, you know, with regards to the person in Serbia, they felt their loved ones. They understood everything. And we call this actually direct communication, because no longer do you actually need the medium. Yes, I'm actually the channel for the table, and you ask yes/no questions, but you also feel the presence of your loved one, and you also feel often what they're telling you. It's amazing, really. So
yeah, of course it is, Mike. Yeah. And something else that I just want to reiterate here with people, guys, you've got to remember the video that we just saw of Mike. You know, how long does a general session of yours go for, Mike? How long do you do it for?
It normally depends, but about an hour for a person.
Okay, so that's good because that's rounded up, okay? Yeah. So what you actually do for an hour, that's not all the work that we do when we're doing these things. No. When psychics do any sort of readings, energy work, table tipping, or any other like event, I'll just call it an event, you've got to remember the time that we spend and invest before we start. Yeah. And sometimes that's half an hour to 2 hours. And then after you finish, you've got to do another protection, grounding, calling in your guides, clearing all that energy out. Could be another 2 hours, depending on what you've brought through. Yeah. Okay? So, you know, it's all right to say, I'm going to go and see this psychic for an hour. But just remember, guys, if she's a good psychic, she's actually investing about 4 hours into that 1 hour reading. And I'm sure that you would agree, Mike, because I know that you do this. You know, you're grounding, your protection, you do all your saging, etc., like you said in that in the film. So it's not just the hour that you do the table tipping for, it's the before prepping and the afterwards closing and releasing of all the energy that has come through. So that, the before and the after, is actually more important in my view than what you actually see when you're actually doing the table tipping. Because if you don't do your prep work right and if you don't do the end right, you can have anything coming in 3 hours after, and that's what's so dangerous about using, people just sitting around Friday night having some drinks thinking, oh, yeah, let's just go and buy a Ouija board from the toy shop. Oh, my God. Because, you pack it back in its box, but you haven't closed it down, you haven't deactivated it, and you put it back in its box in the cupboard, and then all hell breaks loose the next week. So just be aware, guys, to really consider the time and effort that you want to put into these. If it's just for fun, if it's just for a game,
don't do it.
Go and play something else. Pull out a game of Monopoly or something, please.
If you do this for fun or a laugh, I can assure you, you will get a laugh that you won't find funny. As my friend found to his misfortune.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's right, Dom.
Yeah. So this is a serious direct communication. This is a serious piece of let's say technology to communicate with loved ones directly. And it must be used very, very, I wouldn't say religiously, but spiritually and with a lot of dignity and respect. Otherwise, you get in trouble.
You've just reminded me of something else that I wanted to say before, Mike. Thank you. It doesn't just stop at table tipping and Ouija boards either, guys. This also goes into spells, casting things. Highly consider if you know anyone that does like casting spells, etc., because a lot of times it can go wrong and go south. Especially if you go into like the dark side, which is like hexes and curses. You think it's funny. Oh yeah, I'll put a hex on that guy. He doesn't love me anymore. I'm going to make him pay. That sort of stuff. Don't do it because karma comes back to you and it's tenfold. Okay?
Just like sending healing prayers and healing thoughts you send out, you'll get back as well. So
that's right. So, I always stay on the safe side. I don't do it deliberately. I just know the consequences of knowing if I ever go into the dark side, Darth Vader type stuff where look what happened to Darth Vader in Star Wars, and look at Luke Skywalker when he went dark. So that came out in the 70s. They knew what they were talking about. There was a lot of truth in that movie. May the Force be with you. So, the Force. What is the Force? It is the energy that we create that then goes off and connects and gets absorbed by other people. So, and it's, pardon me, it always comes back to our source. Okay? Yeah.
Well, let's lift the vibration a bit and let's...
well, I didn't mean to make that sort of negative, but you've just got to be careful. Yeah, we've got to be careful with what we're doing.
Just for the record, the Ouija board is an absolute no-no. I was told, Mike, never, ever, and I won't.
Same here.
And so, anyway, let's look at the NDE of Mary Raponi. It's another one, why do I have to come back? It's like a bitch. You show me all this, and then you tell me I've got to go back.
That's right.
I mean, it won't do a spoiler alert. Let's watch it. It's a great one. Here we go.
It was so accepting and loving. And I remember then that something holds me. I don't remember how I got there, but something is holding me because I can feel it physically around me. And it says, Mary Jo, you cannot stay. And I say, why? First I was upset. I said, what? And it said, you cannot stay. And then I said, why? And this voice that I don't see his face, I can't tell you what it looks like because I have no idea. It says to me, you can't stay because you have more to do. And I said, more to do. And he goes, yes, you haven't given enough. And I said, I haven't given enough. And I started talking about every human acolyte I could think. I started saying, you know, I work at that cancer center. I only get paid $600 a month. I'm on 24/7 call. There's nobody that can't call me in the middle of the night, and I actually answer the phone and talk to them. Everything possible that I could brag about on a tombstone, I talked to this God about. And then God says, well, let me ask you one question. And then it says, have you ever loved any person the way you've been loved in this short time here? And I said, no, it's impossible. I'm just a human. And it kind of chuckled. It wasn't human, but it was able to relate to me in a very human way that made me feel loved. And it wasn't laughing at me, but it had a playful edge, or it said, you can do better. And then I remember waking up, and Ron was crying, and he's got this form. And then Ron goes, Mary, listen, you know, you could die. You're really sick, and they're going to have to do surgery on you. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to die, because I just talked to God, and he won't let me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, darling. I'm not going to die because I just spoke to God,
Yeah.
and he won't let me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, how would you feel, seriously, if you were the husband? You'd be sitting there like, what?
Yeah. She's finally cracked.
She's finally cracked.
Yeah. It's just
and I think that's what. Sorry.
So the love that you experience on the other side is incomparable to what you have here. You know.
Of course. Yeah.
And it's interesting that, you know, how basically God is saying you've loved all these people, but you haven't basically prepared to receive love yourself.
That's right.
You know?
Yes.
So,
you know, the first rule that I say to people, if you don't love yourself first, you'll never find it from another person. You know?
Yeah.
You know, if you you know, I do, when I first started doing my readings like a couple of years ago, when I came out of the closet, the psychic closet, I had so many people come into me and they're saying, oh, does he love me? You know, where am I finding a boyfriend? And it started to irk me, Mike, that, you know, I realised that these women that were mostly coming to me, because there were men there too, by the way, you know, it's not just one-sided here, because there was men coming to me and saying, oh, where's my wife? You know, I want children and all this. And I just say to them outright, how much do you love yourself?
Yeah.
You know, you're asking yourself the wrong question. They say, oh, I want a man so he can love me. But we don't need a partner to love us, because if we're not sufficient for ourselves, we don't generate or create that by another person showing it to us. You know, we've got to emit that love so then that person reflects it. You know, and there's so many people out there who just can't fathom that fundamental aspect of what is unconditional and that unity of love. Yeah. You know, she knew what it was about. Yeah. You know, I love this woman. Yeah. You know, so
excuse my hair.
Yeah, you're fine, darling. I often call you Weinstein behind your back. No, I actually say it to your face, darling, because I don't do that.
Yeah. I agree with Joanne. What she says: a partner enhances your life, but you have to be happy and love yourself, of course. Yeah.
Of course we do, Joanne. Thank you so much for adding that. Yeah. You know, and that's why, you know, I'm just going to post about my book again. You know, 5 years I was up in heaven. The teaching of heaven. You know, it goes in and it explains if we don't find all this within ourselves first, then we will never be satisfied with a partner. We will always see faults. We will always see or blame them for something when it's only a mirror of something that's lacking within ourselves first. Yeah. You know? So, yeah, I wish I didn't have to come back. You know? I was up there for so long. But I'm so grateful that I did come back, especially 20 years after the fact. So now I can give that glimpse to other people who, look at the world right now, Mike. There are so many people losing. Hey?
I'm laughing at Ian's comment.
Okay, no, I think a very talented music composer from Bach or Beethoven era. That's how I see your style. Ian, you're gorgeous, Ian, okay?
Well, I'll tell
darling,
you've a brilliant cue talking about love and marriage. Let's go on to this wonderful divine intervention in the form of an angel who, how they arranged this, I will never know.
Angel?
Marriage made from...
I don't think it's... Yeah, I know it's made in heaven, but wasn't it an angel?
It wasn't an angel, no. It was someone in the spirit world. But it's divine intervention. Yeah.
You're going to love this one, guys. Stay tuned for this one. This is a gorgeous story.
Here we go.
The personal ads. They contain thousands of stories of lonely people looking for love, and at least one story that could be a miracle. It all began in 1973 with a dream. A vision of a mysterious red-haired lady seated at a church organ.
I want you to place a personal ad, and this is what I wanted to say.
The dreamer was Chris Henry, a young woman living in St. Petersburg, Florida. Although the words of the woman in the dream made no sense, Chris was compelled to write them down. The next day, Chris's employer found the note and asked Chris about it.
And she came out and she said, "What's this?" I said, "It was just a dream of this lady. She was telling me to write this ad and to put it into publish it into a paper." And I said, "Just leave it next to my bed. It's just a dream. Don't worry with it."
But Chris's boss took matters into her own hands and sent the note to the local classifieds. A few nights later, the persistent figure returned to Chris's dreams. This time, her message was even more specific.
Respond only to the typewritten letter.
The next day, Chris told her boss about the second encounter.
I said, "Guess what? I had another dream about that pretty lady with the red hair in front of the organ. She told me to only respond to the typewritten letter." And Doris started laughing because she said, "Well, I put it in publication."
2 weeks later, a large envelope arrived with over 65 responses to the personal ad. To Chris's amazement, there was only one typewritten letter. It was from Jim Kelly.
I actually wrote it out first, and then I typed it. I figured, well, it'll look more professional. And those type columns, you're a little leery anyway. If it comes in as a typed letter, possibility you have a chance, that person will talk to you, and that's what I did.
After several telephone conversations, Chris and Jim finally made a date to go dancing.
When I first saw her, she was so beautiful, and I said, well, this will be a one-shot date, because, I said, I'm not going to be able to compete with this.
When I saw him, he was the most romantic-looking man I'd ever seen in my life.
There was something there. It was almost like a spiritual connection, because everything just clicked. Almost like a soulmate type situation. You'd found somebody you were very attracted to.
If he would have said, "Do you want to marry me?" I'd say yes, right then and there. And that's how I felt.
Chris and Jim fell deeply in love and were married 3 years later. The newlywed couple was very aware that a miraculous sequence of events had brought them together. But there is one more incredible event in their story. While visiting Jim's mother, Chris paged through a family album when she noticed a photograph that took her breath away.
There was the woman with the red hair looking right at me, and I said, "That's her. That's the lady in my dream. She's the one that told me what to say."
Another photograph showed the same woman standing next to Jim. Chris was shocked and asked Jim who she was.
Chris had mentioned, she says, "Well, that's the lady that was in my dream." And I became real emotional about it. I said, that's, that's my wife died of cancer.
Unknown to Chris, Jim's first wife, Georgia, had lost a difficult battle with cancer, and Jim had been silently mourning her loss.
Chris's dream, when she had mentioned that she saw the woman sitting in an organ, that was kind of a confirmation for me in my own thoughts, because Georgia used to play a church organ.
Chris felt an immediate connection to Jim's deceased wife.
The love that I had for this woman, it was an honor to be directed and led by her, and to be picked by her to be with Jim.
Both Jim and Chris were convinced that her dreams were a message of love and proof that miracles do happen.
I think this happened because Georgia basically wanted me to continue on in a relationship and not just wander in the desert like the nomads.
I guess she knew that I would be his best friend. I would take care of him and make sure that he was loved, and that's all he would ever know.
This story definitely, as a miracle itself, demonstrates that, love goes beyond the grave. It still continues.
Her influence has been there with us all these years. They had a very special marriage. And to know that I'm handpicked by Spirit, you can't get better than that.
Yeah, wow, huh? Just wow.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. Yeah. How do they do it? How do they pull that off? Look at all the synchronicities that have to take place for that to happen. Who knows?
Well, obviously I understand what it's like when we go to heaven. We lose all our earthly emotions, so we become back to that unconditional love. So obviously, I understand why that first wife allowed her husband to go and find true love with somebody else. Okay, that's a no-brainer for me. But to come through and to visit this lady, it makes me wonder, what was the connection between the first wife and what was her name?
Chris.
Chris. Sorry, yeah. Chris Henry. Why did she pick her for?
Yeah.
Do they have, as you said off air to me earlier, it's like they have like a Rolodex or a list of people
that go through. Let's have a look.
Not suitable.
See who we got here.
Let's just go through the list. Let's see who we've got. One.
She'll do. She's the one. Yeah.
She's the one. Let's go and tell her to meet up with my husband,
yeah.
And but at the end of the day,
sorry, carry on.
There's a synchronicity in there, Mike, that I think you missed.
Wonder
if anybody else picked it up. Because there was somebody else. I think I just gave it away then. There's somebody else who played a very, very important part in that story. Mm-hmm. Her boss at work.
Yeah.
Who actually placed the ad. Now, if I'm at work, I'm sorry, I'll just go there. Yeah. If I was at work and I said, oh, don't worry about that paperwork, that's my personal property, right? If somebody actually took my personal property and then they advertised it because she put it in the newspaper, I would be a little bit upset with that. Yeah. Seriously. So, interesting how that synchronicity played out, though, because if she didn't have the dream, if the woman at work, and look at even that, where she's actually trusting that woman at work so much that she says, oh, by the way, I've had this dream about this woman, so they obviously do have some sort of rapport or relationship. But so for the woman to actually take her private property and go through with that, when the actual lady said don't, so she's going against her decision, that took a lot of guts in itself. So I wonder if she was also receiving messages. It could have been that this woman actually appeared to her in a dream and said, hey, make sure that you print her story. How do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah.
So because she wasn't in the interview. But, A lot of synchronicities there, Mike.
And
wow.
And very specific as well. You know, only choose the one that's typewritten. I mean, that's being very specific.
That's right.
You know, because quite often, as you know, it would be she opens them up, looks through, and spirit will be really nudging you to look at this one. But no, this was the typewritten one only. So therefore, another. How do they get it that only there was one typewritten one?
They could have all been typewritten.
Yeah.
So how did they know that before the event? Because I can tell you, up in heaven, there is no time.
No. Yeah.
Okay? There is no time. So it all goes by energy connections up there. You know, people say to me all the time, Mike, you know, my partner died 2 weeks ago. When can I expect to get signs from them? And I turn around to them and I say, well, look, don't feel sad that he hasn't or she hasn't come back yet. It's because imagine how they are feeling now that they are back in total and oneness with that love up there. Do they honestly want to make you sadder or grief more? So they're going to be patient and allow you to get through that trauma of their death before they actually come through and make contact.
Yeah.
So then they know that you're ready and that you're willing to accept that message as that love and that hope rather than something that would make you more sadder or more depressed. So they're actually doing us a favor by waiting with their messages, you know, because it's all about energy. So, you know, our emotions are our energy. So if someone is feeling sad, if they're feeling traumatic, then that emits up to heaven and they think they'll be sitting up there thinking, oh, no, I don't want to cause her more of that. Mm-hmm. I'll wait until her energy changes to when she starts being happy and more positive outlook on life type situation, where then they will start sending the messages through, you know. But then we have to also be open to receive those messages unless it comes as a woman playing an organ in our dreams. You know, we get messages every day. It could be a bird. It could be a feather. It could be anything.
Yeah.
So that's why I say to people, you know, all the time, if you do want to message, be specific and ask for something, not something that you see every day. Yeah. You know, we have a flock of cockatoos every day that fly over my house. So it's normal routine if I saw a cockatoo, the big white Australian parrots. So you ask for something that's so rare that when it does pop up, you know that it actually is that message. Yeah. And you've also got to be aware in your own presence to identify when you see it. Because we get so consumed with thinking about, oh, my God, I've got to drive in all this traffic today. I've got to go to my work. Oh, my God, that report was due by 9 and now I'm running late in traffic. So you're missing that sign that you've just passed on the road. Yeah. So, you know, you've got to be aware of your surroundings. You know, that's the easiest way to say it. You've got to be aware of your surroundings, which is stay aware in your present moment. You know, little example, little tester that people can do. Mm-hmm. You sit there and you count how many noises are around you. You know, in my house, I can hear the ticking of a clock in the hallway. There's traffic out on my main road. There might be a guy across the road mowing. There could be a bird chirping in the tree. Someone across the road's got their TV on. Oh, then you've got a neighbour screaming at each other. Then you've got the guy next door drilling in his shed. You know, he's making furniture or something. So you count up all these noises and you put yourself in the place surrounded by all these noises. So we become aware of our present moment. That's the easiest way to become aware, okay? And then you say, okay, I don't want to listen to the traffic of the noise on the road anymore. So you eliminate that noise, so then you only concentrate on, say, the birds or the guy mowing. Yeah. Hopefully it's not the screaming neighbours because you wanted something positive. Yeah. So then you become aware of where that noise is to your own person. Yeah. So that's a good way, a little exercise of how to become aware, to stay in the present moment by counting up all the noises around us. Yep. Yeah.
Good point.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good. I try, Mike.
Well,
you know, we can only try our best.
Following on from Katerina's story about an apport, and we saw the big fella a few weeks ago bringing up diamonds and things.
Yeah, Michael somebody.
Yeah, and your friend actually
and just
saw him
remember,
and witnessed
guys,
it. And
my friend actually went and saw him. That guy, Michael, or whatever his name was, he actually came here to Brisbane, and she went and saw him. And not only did he throw up all this stuff into the towel, she actually got this stone she's taken it to many jewelers, and they can't identify what it's made of. They can't, and we're talking professional jewelers here that know every gemstone. Yeah. And I've held it. I held it. It's only about this big, a little stone, but it looks like an opal, but it's more denser than an opal. Mm-hmm. Really weird stone, but it feels like plastic, but it's not plastic because it's been tested at the jewelers. It's not plastic. Right. Yeah, it is it's natural element, but they just don't know. But for what we're about to see, guys, with Kay, is that where we're leading into now, Mike? Kay?
Yeah, Kay McGuee.
Just a little heads up, guys. This one could be a little bit irky for some people. Yeah. Okay? I don't want to say where these objects come out of him, but just know that they're about to come out of him.
Not where you think.
So, not where you think.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Hey, if I can watch it, you guys can watch it. Okay?
It's a breeze.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So let's go and have a look at it.
Let's have a look.
Und schon ist Sprechen fast nicht mehr möglich.
Können wir sehen, Auge. Wie sich langsam bildet unter dem Auge.
Ja, Julia, am Boden sitzen. Etwas mehr Distanz. Ja. Das Licht ist zu hell zum Augen öffnen. Ja. So.
Mund.
Nun steckt's in der Nase wie stark einst im Ohr. Und Julia musste graben.
Ja. Ich habe wieder meinen kleinen Schraubenzieher dabei.
Doch gleich wird's hervortreten. Okay. Julia, auch im Ohr steckt's fest. Okay. Bitte hol's schnell heraus.
Ja, okay.
Julia.
Doch, das ist ganz hart.
Hol's heraus. Hol's schnell raus. In Wirklichkeit ist die menschliche Form nicht optimal. Und manchmal, du drückst hinein, Julia, ja. Gib Acht. Hebel's raus, genau.
Von oben Eier. Das ist ganz weit drin.
Nein, gleich ist's draußen. Mach dir keine Sorgen. Du bewegst es schon hervor.
Okay. Ja, ich sehe es.
Es kann nichts geschehen.
I don't want to say where else they come from, but you know, we were saying off air. Obviously, this is an edited version, and if you just see an edited version and you're a skeptic, you could say, "Oh yeah, you know, these could all be placed." There was a lot coming out of his mouth, and you know, underneath the eye bone there, yeah, you can hide things, but not that quantity. You simply can't hide that kind of quantity there. So this guy is, I think he's either Swiss or German, and I've seen a lot of his stuff, and I would say he's the real deal. But
I'd say he's the real deal too, darling. You know, thank you for making me watch that twice.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure about why he makes these noises. Maybe the vibration of that noise helps to release the.
And, well, darling, I'm thinking it could be pretty painful too. You know, look how much agony agony do we go into when we've just got an eyelash in our eye?
Yeah.
It hurts like buggery.
Yeah.
You know, so I can imagine what these little stones and whatever they are that are coming out of him, that they would feel like. That would hurt immensely.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a lot
Oh
of
my
stones,
God.
yeah. Considering the size
Yeah.
of them for the eye. You know, they're coming from under that bone. They're not coming from in front, or I think you might start to see some, but there's that little bone there, and they're coming up from there. They're coming from his nose. They're coming from his ear. I mean, and they're quite sizable for the area.
And thank God he's got the girl there with the tweezers.
Yeah. So
you know, a couple of little hints, guys. Don't try this when you're by yourself, just in case you do get something stuck in an orifice somewhere on your body, because you need someone there to dig it out with tweezers or a pick and a shovel or whatever. Oh my God. You know, but you know, I don't. The thing that crosses my mind with this, Mike, as you call it, a port. How do they get into it? You know, do they sit there one afternoon and just say, "Oh, I want a psychic ability"? You know, I'm going to start throwing out all these gems out of my eyeballs. You know, seriously, I'm trying to be serious here, even though it's quite funny. But you know, obviously they haven't been doing it since they were born. You know, it's something that they acquire. So it would be interesting because, you know, for me personally, I don't want that ability, okay? Don't let me wake up and, even if it's a big red ruby, you know, this is a ruby on my finger, and I'll just bring it in so people can see. That's a real ruby there, guys, okay? I would hate to think a big red ruby was going to come out of my nose or something. Oh, my God, you know, it's a scene out of that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he had to go to Mars, get your butt to Mars.
Total Recall.
Total Recall, you know, where he had the bug up his nose and they're pulling it out and all his nose swells up. Oh my gosh, you know, I just couldn't.
No.
Sorry, I am a girl at the end of the day.
You know, I think this is something that you kind of acquire or happens to you, like Robert van der Broek, who takes the photographs. He's just started in crop circles, taking photos in crop circles. And it kind of just develops. And I think if you just allow the process, then it happens.
Yes,
I don't think there's too many people that do this kind of work like him or Robert van der Broek.
I don't. No, there's not too many out there, Mike. You know, because it's a very trusting ability. You know, look at mediumship even. You know, we've got to trust that the people that we interact with, the spirits, etc., as well as the clients, that they're going to treat us with respect and, you know, not attack or abuse us at the end of the day. But, you know, so a gift like this that he's got, you know, that's very trusting gift where it could be something that hurts your physical body, you know. So little bit of notice, guys, be careful. If you're going to start doing or try to do one of these gifts, always have somebody else with you just in case there is a medical emergency, okay?
And get trained properly,
Yeah, go and find out, you know, make some phone calls and really decide if, you know, because, you know, how many people would sit out there and say, oh, yeah, I'm just going to start, I've just lost my job. You know, how many seriously? Okay, let's go seriously. I've just lost my job. I need money. Oh, I'm going to manifest all these diamonds coming out of my eyeballs. How many people would say that? Millions on the planet right now. I'd say billions on the planet would say that right now. So don't think that you're just going to go in there and all these diamonds are going to start coming out of your eyes, guys, because spirit will know that you're doing it for the wrong reasons. First of all, you know, you look at Michael and probably this guy Paul as well. Everything that comes out of them, they do not keep.
No.
They share. They give it away for free because they're doing it for the right reasons.
They're in service,
they're in service to others. So if you are a selfish person who says, oh, yeah, I need money to pay off my rent or mortgage or car or whatever because I've just lost my job, I need these diamond things coming out of my eyeballs. It won't work. They won't let you do it.
No.
Okay? It doesn't work like that, you know? Yeah. So just be aware, guys, that there are people out there doing it. So it is a real ability. But, I mean, you know, be careful if you do want to start doing it.
The most gentle apports that I've seen are in spiritualist churches where a feather just comes through the ceiling. Obviously, no one's looking up. It's just that you're doing the service and this feather suddenly drops on the floor, a white feather.
I could handle that.
Yeah.
I could handle that.
That's more common,
I could handle that. Because it's not coming out of my ear or my nose or my any other hole on my body, okay?
Yeah.
I could handle just a feather just coming down from the ceiling, but where did it come from? Because the ceiling was there. Yeah. I could handle that where it comes through the ceiling. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Well, we might finish on time, but we've got one more. Paul Selig, a great channeler.
Yes.
You often find him on an internet interview show. What's it called? Not New Thinking Aloud. Something Realities. I'm not sure. With Alan Semfield. He's got this unusual way of he gets the channel and he says what the channel says and then he says it in his voice. Very interesting. A lot of stuff about this guy. Let's just listen to this and see what you think. I've followed a bit of this guy's work. I'm very impressed by him. Here we go.
Yeah.
I think this audience is really an advanced audience. I think they know they're not their personality self. So let's take it to another level.
You all think you're your personality self. You walk around the block. Don't I look lovely? Don't I look lovely? Will I get my needs met? Will I get my needs met? Who is that? Who is that but the personality?
Okay.
But the personality of the divine self. Now the divine self may utilize personality. May utilize the personality. May call forth through the personality. May call forth through the personality. But he knows who he is, and he knows he is not, and he knows he is not the issues. The issues of the small self, through the small frame. Through the small frame. We will complete the sentence, please. We will complete the sentence, please. Then you may ask again. Then you may ask again. The requirement for the teaching you asked. The requirement for the teaching you asked. And what is the agenda? And what is the agenda? The agenda. The agenda is the incarnation, the embodiment of the divine self, through humankind. Through humankind, not just you, not just the ones before us here, but for each man who may know himself, in his true worth, her true worth, yes, mankind has been denied sovereignty by agreements made to remain small, and the small self exists in limitation. Do you understand this? Yes, we move you beyond limitation, but you adhere to limitation. Don't I look nice today? That is limitation. The divine as you. Who is remarkable, ever beautiful, and always wise. And always wise knows that for a fact. Does not seek affirmation for his goods in the world. His actions in the world. He has no need. Our discipline is to offer you the elevation of consciousness. The elevation of consciousness that is required in attunement, for your embodiment to progress. Thank you for the question.
Great. You look bemused.
Well, I sat there when I first watched this the other day, Mike. I sat there and I thought, right, there are some comedians and some other actors out there who can switch from one voice and accent to the next very quickly.
Yeah.
So he could be faking. However, there was just too much stuff in there. Now, guys, if you do want to go back, now that you know that the spirit talking through him, because he's channeling, the spirit talks and then he repeats because the spirit talking is quite muffled. So that's why everything was doubled, okay? But the biggest line in there that I actually liked was the elevation of consciousness that is required for your attunement. So that's all vibration. That's all frequency. The elevation of consciousness. I understand it. Hello, I've been home. I know what he's talking about. But for laymen's here on Earth, that have never had the glorified experiences that I've had, don't worry about it, because some of them are traumatic, what I've been through. But the elevation of consciousness, I think that's the one line that really did stick with me in what that channeler was saying, because it talks about that vibration. We raise our vibration up, and through raising up our vibration, we do obtain psychic abilities. If you look at like a ladder with the rungs, and please don't take this as me being condescending at all here, but one of the first psychic abilities that we do acquire is being able to see ghosts, okay? I'm not saying it's lower on the ladder, okay? A lot of people never acquire it. A lot of people have it from birth. A lot of people have it naturally, like Mike and myself. And then you go into more spirit. And then, because I've been upgraded a few times in my life, most recently now because I see spirit guides. Crazy. If someone said to me 3 years ago I'd see spirit guides, I would have thought, oh my God, you're nuts. Okay. I don't know if channeling like this man is doing is one of the gifts that I may acquire now that I'm evolving more, because some people acquire it as their first one before they start seeing ghosts. So there's no order to the abilities that we have, guys, okay? So
That's
please don't
human
misinterpret
thinking.
what I just said. Everybody progresses at their own frequency. Everybody does their own abilities separately and differently and uniquely to everybody else's abilities, okay? We all get our information differently. We all have our own psychic abilities, like even ESP. I can have ESP, extrasensory perception, that's totally separate to somebody else's. My deja vu even is totally different to somebody else's deja vu. So please do not ever judge or expect any sort of psychic abilities if you're trying to acquire something. I always say, believe that you have it, then you release something out of your own energy field to accept this in, because we're already 100% full of energy. So you release past angers, hurts, all that negativity. Get rid of it, okay? Then you gracefully acknowledge what is coming. So you acknowledge it, and then you be grateful, okay? That's, we're talking about law of attraction type stuff here, guys. So, and it works. It really does work.
Interestingly, a lot of what you spoke about there, I channeled a message the other day. It's 9 pages long, and I was told to release it on the 21st. Interesting day to release the message.
Well, that's right. That's right, Mike. And the best thing that you've done there is that you trust it to the point now where you've just mentioned it. Okay? Because that's the other thing that we've got to do. When we receive like psychic abilities, because we don't see it with these, we don't hear it here, we've got to learn to trust it. And the only way of trusting it, guys, is to get your confirmations. Okay? It's to get your confirmations up. So you ask for the gifts that you want, whether it's psychometry, whether you want to start seeing ghosts or spirits, whether you want to start seeing spirit guides, whether you want to start doing even mind reading or telepathy, which is mind reading, or even what's the one where you make things move by themselves? Because that can be obtained. Telekinesis, thank you. We can ask for any of these, but if you do it for your own selfish needs, you won't get it. It won't work, okay? It's got to be for the better of others.
Yeah.
So I always, whenever I do, because I do it for other people, they say, oh, Linda, I think it's really cool that you have premonition dreams per se. Okay. And I say, well, all you got to do is ask for it.
Yeah.
So I do it like a little prayer with them. And I actually say to them, the warning is, if you receive these messages, please know it's not for you, because that's your ego.
Yeah.
You've got to do it for the good of others.
Yeah.
So, and they know if you're just doing it for your own selfish needs or whether you're doing it for better of others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we can all get psychic abilities because they're all innate, but raising up our vibration, that's the hardest thing, because that's the work that I spoke about earlier. Working on ourselves, working on raising our vibration and staying in that happy, loving, emotive state constantly. It takes a lot of work. It's so easy to be angry. It really is. It's so easy to be angry. But when you say, okay, I'm now angry, so you identify it. I'm now angry. What's causing it? What am I angry about? So you actually look at yourself. You say, right, I don't want to do that now. I want to be loving. So then you go out and actively do something that makes you feel good that you're loving somebody. So we can change our behaviours, guys.
Yeah.
The world is a beautiful place. Look at the trees. You look at the Earth from a distance, like Mars. Earth is such a unique planet with all the mountainous ranges, the oceans, the plant and animal life that we have. So all you got to do is just go to your front door and just look out, and you will amaze yourself and say, this truly is something deserving of love. Okay?
Well, on that note, it's a good point to close the show, call it a day, and I can have my hot soup.
Well, I've got to go and make my hot chamomile tea, darling.
Alrighty.
Because it's 8:30 at night here for me in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, I hope you liked our show as usual. Just before we go, everything that we talk about, guys, we give you that hope. I'm feeling a little bit bad because I don't want to sound like don't go and try any of this stuff. Just have it in your heart.
Yeah.
Always listen to your heart.
Yeah.
Is this in my best interest?
Yeah.
And talk to your higher self. How I do that, I just look to the sky, not necessarily her, but I just look up and I say, is this in my best intention?
Sure.
Is this decision I'm about to make in my higher good?
Yeah.
And you'll know straight away whether it's yes or no, the answer. Even should I go to the shop today? If you feel a no, don't go to the shop that day.
Yeah.
Okay? There's always a reason why they say no or yes. Yeah. So start trusting it all, guys, because, the world needs love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Yep. It's all good, darling.
Linda, I've got a dash.
I'm going to go make my chamomile tea on that note. So
I've got
Brisbane,
a dash.
Australia, everybody, have a good morning, lovely evening, or lovely good night, wherever you are on the planet. We'll talk to you again next week.
Ciao.
Okay? Bye.